Okay, for today's video, I'm gonna be doing a conversion here to where I'm gonna make this jack be able to be put up and down instead of it just turning the lever here with the impact drill or just about any other drill. They do sell conversions and adapters for it, but I'm gonna make my own that I'll be able to slip this on and actually do it, put this on this side or this side, this part, and my drill on this side, which is on the driver's side, which is normally where you're gonna be accessing your hitch and doing anything with the trailer. So let me get this little angle here different here so you could see how this is gonna go. Okay, so here we go. First thing I'm gonna do is, and by the way, not only am I gonna create that tool here, but these things always kind of wiggle a little bit. So I'm gonna create a bracket with another piece of tube coming up and cradling this. So when I'm spinning, it's not wobbling up and down. Let me go ahead and take this piece here off. Let me open this adjustable wrench to the size here. That was so rusted. And this is what I love about this impact. They don't play. That it sheared the bolt off. That means that would have never came out with someone using a ratchet on his own. And I mentioned this in another video that this tool took me like almost 2 years to buy it, because I always kept on procrastinating, thinking, is it worth spending $200 and something for something that's the impact gun is used to remove, you know, the lug nuts on a tire, and how often do you remove tires? So I kind of didn't think it was worth it. But man, every time I struggled with removing one of those lug nuts that was stuck, I kept on like saying, damn, maybe I should buy it. But then you think, oh no, you're not gonna, how many times is that gonna happen? And then you keep on like letting it go and let me get a punch and thinking that you don't really need it. But man, once you get it, you realize that not only is it worth every dollar for every lug nut that is stuck, but the other uses to take away stuck bolts for the exhaust of a car. Or look at this one right here. This would have been a struggle by hand. You would have needed a big ratchet with an extension bar to break that. And this baby here just takes it off. So I recommend it to everybody. I'll put a link at the bottom to this. So here's the plan, but I'll link that one. The Milwaukee M18, which by the way, as last of my research, it had more foot-pound of torque than even the D-Wall. That's why I ended up getting that one. So here's the deal. I'm gonna weld this sacrificial socket. This is not from one of my sets. This is just like spare random ones that I could just use for anything. That's why I keep a bunch of random sockets that don't have a set specifically for this. When I'm gonna use, you know, I need a socket set to use something, I get my actual sets, right? But I have a drawer full of random sockets and another drawer full of random wrenches, which I should do a walk around the shop and show how I keep my tools. But anyways, for now, I'll weld this so I could just come with my actual impact and put up and down, or with another drill that has enough power, obviously, and put up and down this jack. And if I need to use this, it'll go right over the socket and reach here. I could put a pin, which what I'll be using instead of a bolt like it had. I'll just use one of these that I could remove whenever I want, and it'll work. So now, next thing we're gonna do is actually weld this right here. Let me get ready for that. And first, let me clean that up a little bit. And safety glasses, before I forget. I'm a big advocate of protective gear. or either for the face, either glasses or goggles and gloves and anything else that you need. Now let's do the socket. Perfect right here. Now to make sure that it's straight, I'm gonna get a flat piece of bar, put it across here, so when I start welding, I'm 100% that it's straight. Let me get this, find this flat bar here. I had a little piece around here. There it goes. Here we'll go. And let me get this welder out. And this is the Miller 211, the older style one. Now they're a little bit lighter and more compact. But this is the best for a home shop or a small shop that doesn't, weld continuously, really super thick metal. This does up to 3/8, I believe, almost 1/2 inch. So for this type of shops, this is perfect. Can you go smaller for like a home shop? Yes, I guess you could with a 140. I think Lincoln makes them and Miller makes some smaller ones too, but problem is if you ever need to do something thick, like past the 1/4 inch is where you start struggling with smaller welders. I think this is like the perfect welder to have. So gas open, power on, helmet. Let me change gloves, cover my forearms a little bit. And actually, let me grind off the back here because I might as well use. No, I'll grind from the other side. I was gonna grind down a little bit that socket so I can put the ground to it, but I'll do it right here. Okay, let's go over here now and connect the ground to where I just ground off some paint off. And you'll understand now why the flat bar, because this is not going to be completely perfectly flush. The socket will be, but not this piece. I can tell right now it's curved. So if I just put it flat to flat and this is not actually flat, it's at an angle, that tube is not going to go in because this is going to be kinked. So that this tube is not going to go right through there. This is why I'm going to make sure with this here that I am good. So I'll give it a tack and then I'll straighten it out. So I got a trick here to show some people as far as welding goes. When this gets dirty here with some slag and stuff, and you know, there's a tool that you could use that looks like basically a needle nose pliers. But the outside is kind of sort of rounded, squarish, and it cleans the tip. Basically, all I do is normally clean it with this own tip right here. It cleans pretty good. And another trick is when your wire is out too much, like in this case, look at this, how long it is up to here. And it's just by accident I hit the switch when I put it away last. Instead of having to cut it like everybody does, you know, you get some pliers and cut it to like, you know, a little bit over a 1/4 inch, which is how you should have it to start welding. I just come to wherever I want to cut it and touch metal. Obviously that is grounded so I could do the cut. And that's it. I got my piece here. So now let's start the weld, but let me move the camera a little bit to get a better shot here. Okay, how that looks. Here we go. Now I'll verify where it is that I need to change it to. And it's not flat, which of course it wasn't going to be, but I knew that. And when it's good, this should be able to go in all the way to the back. Oh, let me get on the other side. Like now, you see? But what I noticed that even though it's straight but shifted a little bit because this socket is actually a little bit smaller than this part. So I'm gonna take it off and move it over some. Let's see now. Once again. Get another angle here. You can see better what I'm doing. But basically, making sure it's the same separation from one side and the other. I think we're good there. Should go in now. Perfect. And on top of that is right in the center. Yeah. But I'll just tack it now just in case. Let me do a little tack here. And recheck. Because I gotta cut it and put it again. See, the only thing I gotta go here is up a little bit. Whew, but it's almost there. Remember, I could do all of this because it's just a little tag right now, but the minute I put a bead on there, game over. Oh, I did it too hard. So we'll go again. We'll go at it again. Alrighty. Let's try it again. If at first you don't succeed, you try again. Little tax, so you can move it. The name of the game. That's the same thing. Okay, let me try here. Got the gap down here. You don't got it. Over here it has it. Over here don't got it. So let me see something here. Ground came loose. So I'm gonna try now, see if it rotates kind of like on center or not. Because it's not perfect, but I wanna see if it's good enough. Yeah, let me see if it doesn't break off those two little, I didn't want to do more than a tag. Let's see if it does. Nah, I don't like how it does it. The right thing to do here is going to be to find an exact socket that size. So if not, yes, I can do it, but it's going to be harder to have it, you know, center to center when this is smaller than that. So let me come back, see if I find another socket. So I did find a socket after looking more thoroughly. It's this one. And let me clean it up a little bit. And I should be wearing eye protection. But I'm not grinding, this is just sanding, so it'll just be dust coming out. So I guess I feel a little bit more like taking a chance. Yeah, I kind of took a chance there without eye protection because it's just a sanding disc and not a grinding wheel or a cutting disc. Kind of felt a little bit reckless there, but so this didn't work. Let me take it off. And while I'm at it, I've kind of flattened that out because that was cut originally at a little bit of an angle. It still has it. I'll clean this one up later for some other use. But here, almost straight. Now, it'll be a lot easier to get it straight. Put this ground back in here. And this, now I could even kind of hold it with my hands. And it'll be more centered. The pivoting, just with that flat bar there. Because again, that's not, like that face is not perfectly flat. Now I could try to keep on grinding, but It'll never be perfect. So I just rather make the perfection by using that flat bar there. Let's see. Let's see what's going on here now. Okay. Perfect side to side. Perfect there. Perfect. Feels good. I moved it. I sure wish. Let me go a little bit off there more. Something bothering it. Let's see now. Let's give it a tag here and see what happens. Let's see where we're at. Mm-hmm. Almost perfect. And the bottom is where there's some gap here. There's a little piece there bothering me in the back there. I think it's good right there. Let's try it here. Another tag right here to give it a try now. Let's see how this. Actually, let's try with it again. Let's go. I should be doing this with the drill, the regular drill, because the impact's just gonna be hammering it. Damn, and I sheared it off. I knew it. These are the things that happen. These are the things that happen. Wow. This is the frustrations when you're trying to do something and it doesn't go as planned. I should have packed it more or not used the impact for this. One or the other. But now that I got more frustrated with it, because it's now getting a simple little project getting to be a little pain. Let me see if in 3/8 I have the exact size. Because this one, even though it was very close, it was a tad bigger. Way better than the other one. And let me show you then, I guess, at this point, my drawers with sacrificial. Oh, hold on, my tripod got stuck down here. There it goes. let's go right here. Show you my sacrificial drawer that is not like socket sets or anything. Right here. I made lower here. So it's this drawer. All sockets that are not from any particular set. This drawer. And then the heavy duty sacrificial ones. This one, cool. And this one. There's some non-sets. These are all that I could use for whatever. So now let me go down a little bit more and look for one that matches exactly to the T what I'm looking for. And I got the measurement here on this caliper. I just set the caliper to the width of that over there, of that shaft. Was it this one that gets so close? Damn, might be that. Might have to use that one. Which actually, in a way, is better because something like that, because a little bit smaller would be easier than bigger. But no, none of them quite do it. So let's go with using a 3/8 because the other one was a 1/2 inch. Let's see what socket we find here that is very, very close. Too much. This one is gonna work. This one. Let's go right back. And we are back here to the beginning of it all. And we'll give that one a shot. And that one's gonna work, 100%, guaranteed. This comes with a warranty or your money back. One way or the other. This is it. Let's go. Well time. Because this is it. Again, this one's guaranteed. Feeling a lot more comfortable with this one. Ground fell off again. Forgot. There we go. Let's cut this here. All right. That was that little piece of wire that I cut. It stayed stuck there. Okay. Now the problem is that didn't go in the right spot. I said it was going to be 100% guaranteed to work. I just didn't say the first shot. Because nothing is guaranteed on the first time around. Nope. So instead of wasting a million times here, back and forth, I'm ripping it off and putting it again until I get it right. So why I want it perfectly straight is simple. Because if not, it's going to be wobbling when I do it with the drill fast. If you're doing it by hand, it wouldn't really matter. But this is going to be going with the drill, which means it's going to go kind of fast. So you don't want it wobbling. All right, let's see where we're at. I can tell that is off, but how much into what direction? Can I hammer it back? Nope. So it'll keep on coming off. And grind it down again, because now it's bothering me, the spot welding. Now, most people doing videos, I've noticed that there's a lot of cutting in between, and I don't. And I've said this before, because I want people to see when you're actually doing these little inventions and modifying things, the real world things, how it happens. You know, because when you do cutting, then you make everything look like from the first shot, it worked out perfect. That's such a lie. So I'd rather be real and not edit. It'd be easy to just to cut, but no. I could turn it off and then every time do a different recording and paste it together. But no. It is so difficult. To get it right, precise, centered. Let me see. Oh, this one's gonna stay like this. This one's good. Finally. See if it pulled it too much because I needed to go up a little bit. That's why I didn't tack at the bottom. Because I wanted it to go up. And it sure did. Looks good. Now let me rotate it down, but let me get the drill with a 3/8. And I'll do it with that impact right now, since I haven't gone around the whole perimeter. Even though I know that'll hold, why stress it? Move it back, there we go. This ground. Worst place to put a ground is around 2. Cut right there. Let me do a second bead on the sides. Same thing on the socket now. And more sparks than the other part because I didn't clean it. I only cleaned at the edge. You know, I didn't clean far back to do that second pass. But it'll work. I can clean it now. This one at least. I want to see how much I got to shave off of that weld so this will go through. Because remember, that kind of goes almost fit into there. Hold on, let me change this helmet from welding to grinding because it's getting dark on me. There we go. Now it's cool. Let's see if that's enough for it to slide, because this had very little give, you know, play around to fit in. It still needs a little bit more. You know, this tube in here goes kind of adjusted, like fitted. That's why I knew I was gonna have to grind down some of that excessive oil, but let's take a little bit more. We're almost there. Do the other side. Actually, let's do 1/4 or 1/3. There we go. So now I can use this. If I don't have the drill, you know, I'm in a situation I forgot it or something. Put this right through there, boom. And I can use it like normal. But if I'm using it like I should and have my drill with me, I can remove it and put the drill right there. Now, the other thing is I'm gonna be doing, but that'll be for another video. I'm gonna do that tomorrow actually then. It's putting right here a bar with a round piece that's going to hold this cradle, and it'll have to be cradled around this spot, because if I do it here to this thickness, then I can't get this out. So it'll be right here. Find me a piece of tube to go around here. So basically it'll be a round piece here, it'll slide through and then go in here, and it's going to keep this from jiggling so much and having play when you're turning it. Anyways, let me go through now a little bit of paint right there. Even though that's all gonna be painted when I paint the trailer, basically the paint right now is gonna be kind of like to just have some primer per se and keep it from rusting. But before I do that, let me, on that shaft, let me at least scuff it up a little bit, because it has a lot of rust from that pipe sitting in there. And now I'm gonna get a rag with a little bit of acetone, and I'm just trying to make the paint stick as good as it can. The paint that I'm gonna be putting now, which is gonna act like a primer. But the cleaner this is, the better it'll attach. And it's bubbling because this is still hot. So it's basically baking in there almost like if I was powder coating it. And that'll be it for this video. Catch you on the next one.